Gagne from Trisotech. And Denis is a well-known expert in decision intelligence world. He is an active contributor to all major standards, including the Triple Crown, DMN, BPM, CMMN, and Denis is not only has a very serious theoretical background in this area. He is a chief founder and CEO of a company that implemented Trisotech decision intelligence platform, and it's very popular and unique and uniquely presents the latest standards with integrated in the latest technological advances. So, Denis, take over.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. I have a bit of a cold, so sorry about my voice a bit, but we'll go through this. So today I want to talk a little bit about AI and certainly address what everybody will address throughout the next few days, the new resurgence for AI and what that means. But at the same time, I want to take the time to look back. This is not meant to be some kind of history lesson, but more of a let's look back as we're going down this highway at full speed. I think it's worthwhile to take a pause, look around, and see what we've learned. So the AI discourse right now is completely polarized. We get everything from the end of humanity by AI or to saving the world. So it's really hard for leaders of organization and even more so in regulated industry to figure out, what's true and what's not true, what's possible and what's not possible. So it brings a lot of conversation with leaders that are in that confusion. Just in the last few weeks, two reports came out, one claiming from MIT 95% failure of enterprise AI solution, and another one coming out from IBM saying that about 40% of the CEO say we're going down that road full speed, better be fast and wrong than right and slow. So you see this dichotomy of behavior in this very crazy situation we're in right now. So just as a little bit of a teaser to what I'm going to talk today, I've put a few there. We don't trust AI, but we keep using it. We know AI hallucinates, yet we believe what it says. We fear that AI will replace us, yet we want it to do our jobs. And we fear that AI will think for itself, and then we want it to think for us. So we say that AI cannot reason, but yet we want to use it to make decisions. So I guess the point here is that the last 20% is where 80% of the rework lies in AI. And the part that is really scary for people, I guess, or should be scary, is the unknown, which many of us here in this group understand the significance. So let me start by my conclusion. The conclusion of my talk today is that we should treat GenAI as just normal technology. And by normal, I don't mean mundane or predictable. By normal, I mean just something that needs to be adopted and diffused in a controlled way. So we got to look past the hype. Just think of the hype curve. We got to go. We're bound to have a drop of disillusion coming up, but we have to look beyond that. AI is a tool that we should remain in control of. So the question that I ask is, are we about to repeat the mistake of the past? And more specifically, I'm interested in what we've been doing with decision automation or automation at large, because the projects don't fail because of lack of effort, but because people don't share the same intent or the same model as we're doing work, or there's no clear governance. I don't think this is going to change. So very quickly, the rise of agentic AI, we are moving from those rigid but reliable implementer type of tool that we've been using to some supercharged AI tool, to some kind of multi-agent swarm that are going to scale very, very fast. Now, the promises are for something that is much more flexible, giving us natural interfaces, autonomous action, but they come with risk. Lack of intuition of these systems, very brittle logic, opaque decision. And fundamentally, autonomy without alignment is just chaos. And we need to be mindful of that. So the same struggle that slowed us as humans, misalignment, or end of politics, name them, reappears in the context of agents. So how can we move forward at the speed of machine? So the point, I guess, I'm trying to say here is, unless we design differently, we're just going to repeat history, repeat what the flaws are. So we have to start looking at what we've learned as we progress through automation in the last 15 years. So if we look at, Jacob did an introduction that covered those points, so I won't spend too much time on it, but each layer of progress brought its new challenge in terms of governance and elements. So we went from the hardwired rules to rule engines, to model-driven decision, to decision-centric orchestration, and now GenAI and Agentic AI. So if we look at these, I think the maxim that I'd like to put forward is intent before implementation. So don't start with code, don't start with prompts, start by capturing the intent, what it is that you want to achieve it, and why it matters. And make sure that the boundaries are respected in what's going on, so that these models can provide us with more foundation going forward. So let me just look back with you at a few lessons that we've hopefully picked up along the way, and that I believe apply in the agentic world as well. So one of the big problems that certainly people in the process improvement world have been quite aware of is the problem of the white space in an organization chart. So how do we handle this breakdown that happens between teams and different part of the organization? The same problem gets translated in agentic AI with unclear responsibility between agents that leads to gap and conflict. So the solution to this is to have clear and explicit processes. We've known that, we've been applying it. Business process came about to solve that problem, to make sure that they define the roles, the responsibility, the end of, so that both humans and agents can operate within the same space. Sorry. Another, and probably the best known for us computer scientists, is the problem of weak requirement. Within the human context, we know that poor requirement creates a lot of rework. In agentic implication, the vague prompt and unclear expectation for AI behavior brings the same problem. So the solution is really to have explicit and precise intent, clarity up front to save the pain from later. And then there's the problem of misaligned incentive. We had silo metric or political friction in humans. On the agentic side, the agents may be at cross purposes. They may compete for resource. They may basically exploit loopholes loophole in their reward structure. Actually, interesting enough, OpenAI published a paper, I think it was not last week, the week before, that they claimed that hallucination was caused by their reward system. And the reward system was too much bias to provide an answer no matter what, which forces the model to do hallucination. I think the solution we found with humans was to put constraint and policies to manage our organization. Another problem is brittleness in complex systems. We know that within human systems, judgment is often needed. There's very ambiguous situation, and that's why we have those knowledge workers, those people that are expert that we want to rely on. The problem on the agentic side becomes with overconfident AI or agents that will cascade errors. These agents can become dangerous without supervision. So the overconfidence, underinformation, misalignment, everything can cascade in a systemic failure. So we need to have adaptive and exception-aware design in our system. Another problem is the problem of knowledge fragmentation, where the knowledge becomes residing in many documents, many different places, all this implicit knowledge that's been problematic for organization. The agentic world has the same problem. They will interpret the same input differently, which can lead to semantic drift. So the solution to that, as we know, is a shared semantic for the organization so that people speak the same language, have the same meaning of those things, and a single interpretation of the inputs and the outputs. And the last problem I want to talk about is the problem of scaling and coordination overhead. We all know Brooks' law that says that adding people to a project makes it later. Fundamentally, more coordination means more complexity, and that's where we need notions like decision-centric orchestration to manage what it does, when it does it, and under what condition, so that we can scale without total chaos. So here are those lessons, basically. So we should define roles and flow. We should specify the intent precisely. We should align incentives with the work and the vision and outcomes we desire. We should handle exception, share semantics, and we should orchestrate at scale. These lessons apply as much for agents as they did for human. We created all these different approaches to counter these fit issues within human organization, and I believe they're directly applicable when we include agents in the mix, whether you have a mixed organization of agents and humans, or you have a purely organized set of agents. So agents require governance as much as humans do. Agents don't eliminate the need for governance. Actually, they probably make it even higher demand. So without governance, autonomy just become a fragmentation. So a little bit of the patterns of AI involvement. We have assistive system, a mixed initiative workflow where we have human and AI coordination. And then we have fully autonomous system that are there. The higher the involvement, the greater the need for strong governance. So as we push AI to go from just an assistive system to an autonomous system, governance is the key to all this progress. So in helping us having those conversations, Trisotech, we've basically looked at it and summarized or simplified things, and to say that there's basically two fundamental roles for AI. One is as a tool, so AI is a tool that you use, or one is as a performer, AI is an agent that is acting for us. And that led us to create this very simple grid, which is the AI role matrix, where you have agents and tool on the vertical axis and deterministic and autonomous on the other axis, to explain the 4 different quadrants of possibility that we're looking at, going from automated tools to adaptive tool to procedural agents to autonomous agents. So this gives us a simple classifier that we use in our discussion with our potential customers to guide them into picking what the right type of solution is for the right type of problem that they have. So this helps us very easily classify AI, ensure the governance with it, and align with the value and goals that we want. So some principle for success based on these different lessons is intent before implementation. That is the purpose of all these different standards that we developed many years ago and are still in use, where the BPM plus, BPMN, CMMN, and DMN models become a contract layer. It becomes a contract with a very explicit intent, accountability that is visible, execution that is deterministic. It gives us an environment that is governed with an execution, human system agents all operating under the same contract, ensuring the same consistency. When it comes to decision, we use this little mind reminder of decide with clarity to gain, where we want our decision to be defined, explainable, composable, in context, directed by governance, and evolvable. And the gain is great business outcomes, actionable next steps, increase efficiency and effectiveness, and North Star alignment with the mission and vision. Because an organization of AI agents still need to be governed and directed to achieve the mission of the organization. Otherwise, they will achieve some unspecified goals and missions. And we do believe that decision is the core of the business value in an organization and therefore should be centered. We also suggest to preserve human agency in there. Certainly when lives and livelihoods are at stake, like in healthcare and finance, the buck must stop with the humans. There's oversights, explainability, orchestration. This AI needs to be accountable. So, which suggests that augmented intelligence is really the sweet spot of AI for now. Certainly in the short and probably forever. I'm not sure we really want to give away our needs for accountability with AI systems. So one approach, given the current market where things are moving so fast, we suggest a bring your own AI approach where you don't get locked in with what you use. So a very plug and play to address the fast changing landscape. Every month by now, there's a new change in what's bringing value. So we need to make sure we progress, but being in control. So these approach of orchestrating, bringing systems and humans and agents together with the tools and the APIs is very important. So weak governance cause a lot of brittleness, opacity, and mistrust in our past systems. Without that governance, AI will fall into exactly the same traps. So at Trisotech, we applied what we call the trust framework, Trust stands for transparency, responsibility, understandability, separation of duty, and traceability. For transparency, you got to ask the question, if asked tomorrow why the AI made a decision, can you explain it? Responsibility, if things go wrong, do we know who's accountable? Understandability, can a regulator actually understand the output of your system? Separation of duty, can you prove no single person or AI can act unchecked and cause harm? And with traceability, can you retrace every step taken, decision, like following a GPS trail? These questions help us that trust layer uh, that we suggest to our customers. Has created what's called the smart fabric. This is based on what we call the digital enterprise that's been in our product for the last 17 years. It's part of what we do. We look at maintaining context with that graph. We support AI and decision-centric orchestration and trust and governance. So let me show you a little bit of some of the way Trisotech apply the notions that I presented before. Within our platform, it's possible to use an LLM or any GenAI as a tool, basically, calling that API of choice. So that gives you the flexibility of using any AI you want. Another feature we have is the possibility for a human task, whether in BPMN or CMMN, for that human task to be performed by an agent. So you can assign an agent to the task exactly like you do with humans, and the agent is provided with the task description, the inputs, and the expected output structure, just like you would for a human user. So that gives us the possibility of mixing in agents and human where it makes sense within the frame, not everywhere, but where we decided some of this reasoning or that answer is needed. And that provides us with a very tight scaffolding of the using of AI. The idea is to use AI within a tight scaffolding. A feature that actually won us an award recently is the possibility of all BPMN, CMMN, EMN model to be called via an MCP. So they all become an MCP server. So you can provide large language model with a deterministic set of tools. So we have all these process and decisions that are deterministic, explainable, and the LLM can pick the tool as it's answering the interaction with the users. So that gives us a very flexible interface in front of deterministic systems. On the guardrail side, a couple of the features we added, we've had the attended task for quite a few years now, 7 or 8 years, where you can mark any task within a model as attended, meaning that either the input and or the output need to be validated and even overwritten by a human as needed. So this gives us an opportunity to make sure that everything is as expected. Sometimes it's because the data that was provided come from a stale source and the user can change the data. We find this very useful in healthcare, where sometimes the data that is part of the EHR is a little bit dated, and the doctor may want to override the inputs to that systems. We've also added recently to our SDMN being the shared data model and notation, which is a new standard that support BPMN, CMMN, and DMN by providing logical data modeling. We augmented that with the protected information feature. It is possible now to mark any complex structure or any element within a structure as being protected information, and the engine will assure that that protected information never leave the engine. So that way, even if something in the logic, something that happens elsewhere, want to push that information outside, you can mark it and it will be replaced by a stub in the output. So this is another way of doing some protection of information. In fact, just last week, at the HL7 Healthcare Level 7 conference, Trisotech was awarded a prize for excellence in AI transparency and trust. So we're very pleased with that. That confirms our approach within the AI world. So fundamentally, agent won't fix what human couldn't unless we design them to. With agents, we can just fail faster unless we have the right structure with intent, governance, that they can become amplifier of the collective intelligence rather than implementers or amplifiers of our blind spots. So we have to look at what we've done in the past so we can engineer the AI system accordingly. So don't just build the autonomy, engineer the collaboration in it, align human and agents, build resilience and trust. It's not replacing human, it's about amplifying the human intelligence with governed agentic collaboration. So from this initial hype and uninformed excitement about AI to looking at historical analysis of learning from the past to using BPM Plus as the contract between human and AI to bring your own AI to wither the current high speed of everything, ethical governance, accountable AI, and ethical AI is what we need to keep humans in control. So back to my conclusion, treat GenAI as normal technology, not as mundane, not as predictable. This technology is really a revolution. It's taking us to places we never perceived we could go before. But normal means taking this technology, using it where it applies, and stop the craziness of everything should be solved with generative AI. AI is a tool, and we should remain in control of it. Thank you very much for your attendance. I'm happy to answer a few questions if there are some.
Okay, thank you, Denis. Questions? You can type them in chat or just unmute yourself and ask questions directly.
I'd like to ask a question, Denis.
Sure.
Firstly, I say I agree 100% with almost everything you said. It's a really good structure that you're proposing there as a way to impose governance on a tricky area. I wanted to drill down a bit into your discussion of representing intent, because I think that is absolutely vital if we are to have autonomous agents who are devising their own ways of achieving things. That we have to decide on what they're trying to achieve. And I'm not convinced that you can identify BPM Plus as an adequate set of formalisms in which to represent the intent of us as system designers. I spoke about this a couple of years ago when I introduced the business intervention model. I think we need to be able to represent human values numerically in the sense of what it is we actually want to achieve in the organization that is making decisions. So I just wondered if you had any comments on where to go beyond BPMN, which in a sense just specifies the how of what we want to do rather than the why.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. And the reasoning come from many people in recent days or recent weeks, are starting to talk about, well, think of AI as an intern, just got his PhD, but doesn't have a clue what to do in your organization. Uh, as leaders of organization, we always see that the challenge is to align the organization, to have a clear message, to make sure that everybody that's acting on behalf of the organization is acting in the way we want it to happen. So different approaches have been developed to do that. Some more tactical and softer methods, but there are stronger methods now. Well, that the people in this crowd are very used to. That has to do with knowledge engineering, creating a common semantic that is aligned. We certainly find that. We have a tool called the Knowledge Entity Modeler in Trisotech, where we capture the different concepts and draw the concept maps and the rules that are really the ontic rules to control what the meaning of what can be done. And that becomes a formal definition that is then reflected into the process model, the decision model, the case model, and all this. So this is a way of ensuring a uniform view where the mission and the vision is captured by those concepts and those deontic type of rules that present. I'm not sure if it addressed exactly your point, but certainly formal ways of representing intent at large are required.
Okay, more questions, please? Okay, I will ask a question in this case, Denis. When you present, I know that you always provide some practical real-world examples. And being a vendor of decision intelligence platform, you not only present a generic view what we expect from Gartner or Forrester, you give usually examples. And I want to ask you if, I know that you especially active in the healthcare industry, and maybe you or John Swirbally could share one example of using generative AI in decision intelligence context.
Yeah, sorry. It's true that this year I've been a little bit more on the preaching theory rather than practical elements. Yeah, so different type of examples. So, for example, sometime in healthcare environment, you'll have models that will help detect element in X-rays or different graphic image. We'll have the possibility of overlaying models that are structural model of the body on top of imaging, so that you can make interpretation faster and better. So there's different ways into which machine learning and these type of environment. On the large language model, it's more as a interface. I think the most interesting usage right now that are quite prevalent and are becoming standard features. As we know, the whole idea of disappearing AI, as soon as something becomes more adopted, it's no longer AI, it's just a feature of the product. So one of the things that's very used these days is the notion of ambient note takers that listen to the encounter between the doctor and the patient and create the medical notes and the medical coding so that the doctor can approve that at the end of the session rather than having to take notes and enter that in the system. So a lot of the generative AI is used for this burden reduction for the doctor. And we're also doing a lot of work on in the mortgage industry where we deal with regulated and policies and a lot of regulation and laws that needs to be adhered to, where the translation of the word of laws in a narrative form to a structured intent, as Alan was talking, so that you can have a structured representation of those regulations that you can then consume in a digital automated way.
Okay, just to clarify, you gave this nice example about recording or interpreting discussion between patient and doctor. And is this something in the real world, in some hospital or in some practice already? Like, for example, this, if I turn on Read AI, so it will really nicely present our current discussions. And do you have something in real production?
Oh yeah, so ambient recorders are almost the norm by now. Like within the last 18 months, it went from non-existing to a very, very large percentage around the world of doctor encounters being, even the big vendors like Cerner and Epics and all those guys are adding these features in their version of their product. So this is certainly a feature that got into application very rapidly, and that I expect within a year or two will not be considered AI. It's just going to be a normal feature, just like Siri is a normal feature on your iPhone for many years. People don't consider that AI anymore. It's just a feature of the device.
Yeah, I like you're repeating this word normal many times during your presentation and even right now. So basically, you probably in the future we would not distinguish how this decision was made, but it becomes normal, right? And this is the intention of decision intelligence platform to hide all this technicality and make it normal and orient it to real humans. Okay, thank you. More questions, please. Okay, if you don't have questions, thank you very much, Denis. And let me stop recording. Okay.